The Deere Agency specializes in helping you understand your coverage before you need it. We offer all lines of personal and commercial insurance, including auto, home, and life. Contact Don Deere at 210-507-2169 and visit us at 7529 North Loop 1604 in Live Oak, Texas, or farmersagent.com/ddeere.
Are you pregnant and alone? You have options. The Sanctuary of Hope offers expectant mothers ages 12 to 22 a place to live, medical care, counseling, continued education, and options to raise your baby in a loving environment or help you with adoption. We want to help provide you and your baby with a bright future. Call us or email us today and let's walk through this together. 210-499-1554 or sohcares.org. All inquiries are confidential.
Hey, this is I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed, right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Today, we're going to talk to Miss Trudy Cathy White in her book, A Quiet Strength. And the book is all about her mother being the backbone of Chick-fil-A. Trudy Cathy White herself had various roles within Chick-fil-A, including that of a restaurant operator at just 19 years old. Trudy and her husband John served as missionaries in Brazil and co-founded LifeShape and Impact 360 Institute. She is a speaker, author, dedicated wife, mother of 4, and grandmother of 15. Every day she is fueled by her passion to be intentional with her influence. And today is a special interview where we will talk about the impact Miss Jeannette Cathy, the mother of Trudy, and her legacy with Chick-fil-A. So sit back and relax and enjoy today's show right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. This is your host, Shamaya Reed on I Am Refocused Radio. Let's start the intro.
Listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again on an amazing day. And today is going to be very special because we are going to be celebrating mothers all over the world. This is going to be a Happy Mother's Day special for you all. And we have a special guest, Miss Trudy Cathy White. If you don't know her, you've been underneath a rock for too long because that is the founder's daughter that we're talking to of Chick-fil-A. And if you don't know, is her father, Truett Cathy, and her book that we're going to be talking about today. You can go to quietstrengthbook.com. And Miss Trudy, first of all, thank you for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
In your new book, we're going to get to that in a few. It's an honor of your mother, Jeannette Cathy. And before we get started, tell a little bit about yourself to the audience.
Yeah, well, I'm, as you mentioned already, the daughter of Truett and Jeannette Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A. I have 2 brothers raised south of Atlanta. I had the opportunity to meet my husband when I was a Chick-fil-A operator, just at the age of 19. The Lord has taken us lots of places around the world to serve. We were missionaries in Brazil. We have 4 children and 15 grandchildren.
In life for you, I would say very busy. Very busy. And your mom, she was a great leader. She had great faith and she just valued people. So talk to us a little bit about your mom and growing up.
Yeah, well, my mom was a lady of great faith. You need to understand a little bit about her background, though. She grew up during the time of the Great Depression. She was raised by a single mom. She was an only child. And the reason she had a single mom was the fact that her earthly father walked out on the family when she was about 3 months of age, so she never actually ever met her earthly father. But a few years later, someone introduced her to her heavenly father. And if she were here today, she would tell you, don't feel sorry for me, but I never had an earthly father because I actually had a perfect father my entire life. She had an incredible relationship with the person she followed in Jesus Christ. So her faith was extremely influential in my dad's life and our family's life and even in our family business. So much about my mom's motto in life was built around 4 little words that said, "You can with God." And she had an incredibly positive attitude that permeated her relationships with others and really encouraged my dad in the growth of Chick-fil-A.
If you're just now tuning in, we are talking to Miss Trudy Cathy White, and we're talking about the great story of her mom, Jeannette M. Cathy. And this is 9:30 a.m. The Answer. You listen to Imrie Focus Radio with host Shemaya Reed. And like you just said moments ago about her story, how she went through challenges, but she kept pushing. She was raised by a single mother herself, and despite challenges, she overcame.
Yeah, so much of the book that I share, just lots of stories about my life, my mom's life, and like all of us, she had ups and downs in life. She had challenging days. She was trying to raise 3 children. She had a husband who was working really long hours. But at the same time, my mother had an incredible attitude and outlook on life that knew that her strength came from a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and that played out in so many things that she did. It made her extremely determined, and it gave her a tremendous amount of discernment in how she handled situations around our home and with the business as well.
And there is a story in the book about when she finished high school, she did end up going to college. So without giving too much detail, share a quick teaser summary with the audience about that story.
Yeah, one of the things that we admire so much about my mom was she was a lifelong learner. And when she finished high school, she really had a desire to go on to get some college studies and even go to seminary. But she couldn't afford to do that. So a group of ladies in her local church put together the money and afforded her the opportunity to be able to take classes, both in college and at seminary, which is really unheard of. This is back in the 40s, for a woman to go to seminary to study. But that was really encouraging to her. And we just say that she was the kind of person that always was striving to learn more. When she was 65 years old, she decided she'd love to paint. And she bought some oils and canvas, and she was a self-taught artist who did some beautiful work. When she was 80, she got her first computer, if you can imagine, and tried to learn how to navigate the internet. And I think she was about 90 when she got her first iPhone. She noticed that people weren't flipping their phone open anymore, and she wanted to have the newest thing. And so she was constantly learning. That's been an encouragement for me as a mother who's raised children and now a grandmother to realize that even no matter what season in life, there's always opportunity to learn things.
And once again, you listen to Imrie Focus Radio on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, talking to Miss Trudy Cathy White and talking about her book. You can go to her website, quietstrengthbook.com, and you can also find the book on Amazon, everywhere. But touching on the influence that your mom had, we know that she valued people, but she also had a great mindset of, we're going to get things done and we're going to do it in a good principle-based fashion order. Touch on that for the audience.
Yeah, mom did value people. She invested not only in her family was priority for her, but she invested in the lives of a lot of other young girls in their lives. She taught Bible study to a group of teenagers for probably almost 30 years. And one of the things that I mentioned in my book are some 3 principles that both my mom and dad wanted young people to know about. As they spent a lot of time around young people, they realized that most teenagers are kind of complaining because mother and dad are telling them what to do all the time. And so many times when we're teenagers, we want a sense of independence in our life. So our mom and dad help these teenagers understand that, look, the most important decisions that you're going to make in life, you're going to get to make them, not your mom and dad. And they call them the 3 M's. They all start with the letter M. The first thing that you're going to get to decide is you're going to get to decide who your master will be, who will control your life. You're going to get to decide what your mission will be. And then you will also get to decide who your mate will be. And those are some of the 3 most important decisions that you get to make. And so as teenagers, my mother wanted to invest in the lives of the next generation to help them understand how they can make wise choices as they got older and make sure they didn't get those most important decisions wrong.
And this is a true story of a true legend, and especially your family as a whole, the work ethic and the hard discipline that y'all instill into the business, but still having that faith foundation. Talk a little bit about how it was like for you working with the business.
Yeah, well, because it's a family business, we've been a part of it since we were young. Now, when my mom and dad got married before children, my mother was a waitress in my dad's restaurant, which is located in Atlanta and still open today. And of course, when children came along, mother spent more time in the home, but she realized that she could involve us as young children in the business. We actually, believe it or not, used to go to the restaurant and we would sing to the customers as they would come to eat. And we have pictures of us singing to these customers. We'd stand up on the tables to sing to them. When we had free time, my dad would send us out in the parking lot to pick up trash, or sometimes we'd even have to scrape the gum out from underneath the tables that the customers would leave there before they would eat, or organize the candy stand. We were very much involved in the business when we were little. I remember when my dad opened his very first Chick-fil-A store. It was at Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta. And my responsibility was stand in the front of the store and hand out balloons to customers as they would come in. So throughout the years, we have been heavily involved in the business. One thing that I note in my book about the fact that a lot of times my dad would come home from work and he would share his difficulties and his challenges from work, and my mother would listen, and then she would pull us all together as a family, and she would read truths from the Bible, and we would pray together. So we always knew when my dad was having a tough day, because we would rally around him and pray together. So that's a big way our family has been involved all these years, and how we can offer support to the business.
And you mentioned about her praying, and whenever things will come up, issues from work, whatever, and it's brought home, but she still had that let's pray and let's come together mindset. How has faith like that impacted you all as she kind of reminded us, let's come together and pray whenever we face tough times?
Yeah, I think of several things that reflecting back on it, that my mother instilled in us as we were growing up. And one is she reminded us often that everything we have has come from God. And we see that in our business as well. We recognize that our businesses are not ours. They are simply something that God has given us to steward well and to manage it. And so I appreciate parents who have taught us that everything we have has come from God, and we are responsible for being good stewards, or to manage it really well. Also, realizing how much my mom depended on prayer, she has taught us to actually have an active trust in our relationship with Christ, that we're depending on Him, realizing that God is concerned about the big problems that we have and even the little things in life. My mother used to walk around the house sometimes when she couldn't find the TV remote, or if she couldn't find her car keys, and she would say out loud, "Now, Father, I need you to help me find my remote, because you know where it is and you can help me with this." And so it's in our relationship with God, He's concerned about the big things and the little things. And I'm so grateful for parents who helped us understand that as we are blessed by God, we in turn need to be a blessing to others.
And your mother was also influenced with the art. She liked music. She sung. Tell us on that. What was some of the singing and music that she really enjoyed?
Yeah, my mom was extremely gifted and talented. In fact, my dad said all he did was take a piece of chicken and put it between a buttered bun. But my mother actually did an awful lot of things. From the time she was quite young, something very interesting about my mom's life that I speak about in my book is that her mother was a professional seamstress and had a backstage office at the Fox Theater, which is a well-known theater here in the Atlanta area. So my mother spent a lot of time backstage, and she interacted with a lot of the actors and actresses that would come through the Atlanta area for shows. So my mother fell in love with music. She learned to dance. She incorporated all kinds of skills, art that she loved later on in her life. So the arts were really important to her and something she valued. In fact, she wanted to insist that as children we learn how to play musical instruments, that we learn how to sing, that we learn how to speak in front of other people, that we weren't afraid to do that. So she transferred a lot of her own skills and interests into our lives as children.
And once again, this is I Am Refocused Radio, 9:30 a.m. The Answer, talking to the one and only. I got to pinch myself real quick because it's crazy that this is happening. But Miss Trudy Cathy White, and honoring her mother, Jeannette Cathy, and her legacy and her role with Chick-fil-A. And you, as an ambassador of the family business and being from Georgia, talk to the audience a little bit about just the warm atmosphere at Chick-fil-A, because I don't care where you go. Every Chick-fil-A you go to, it always feels like family.
Well, you're right. And a big part of that is the fact that we do focus on people. We value people. We value relationships with others. And we want to treat others with honor and dignity and respect. And that's nothing new. Those are biblical principles. The Bible talks a lot about how we're to treat others. And we realize that biblical principles can never be separated from good business practices. And so a lot of these principles have really infiltrated our culture. It's a part of who we are at Chick-fil-A. We really care. We care about one another. We care about our customers. We care about our team members. And so that type of culture has really come from the root of what my mother instilled in us when we were growing up. She was a person that was very hospitable to others. She cared about other people's lives. She often invited people into our home to have dinner and to take care of them, to do things for them. So it's just a part of our culture and who we are. Of course, at the end of the day, we're in business to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that's been entrusted to us and to have a positive influence on all who come in contact with Chick-fil-A.
And when you see, because we're definitely celebrating all mothers out there, for any mother out there who is in business, what's some words of wisdom that you will give to encourage them?
My mother passed away 5 years ago, and the things that I value the most, I went through their house. They passed away. After they passed away, they had been married and lived in the same house for 54 years, and they left a lot of stuff. They left everything, to be honest with you. But the thing that they left that I value the most is their legacy. And their legacy really is their life choices that they made. And when I reflect back on their lives, I'm so grateful for a mother who was a wonderful role model and example. So let me just tell you, mothers, if you're listening today, I want you to realize that, don't worry if you feel like your children aren't listening to you. I know what that's like. You kind of repeat the same thing over and over and over to children. But here's the thing you ought to be most concerned about. Be concerned that they're watching you every day. And they're going to grow up to be just like you. And so if you don't like what you're seeing in your own life, you need to change that because you're going to see it come out in their own lives. Let me just add one more thing that there are a few things that my mother told me that really stuck with me through the years. And the most important thing I remember her telling me was she said, Trudy, remember who you are and whose you are. This was something my mother said to us as we walked out the back door almost every day headed out to school. Remember who you are. We were made in the image of God, and remember whose you are. We belong to God. We're His, and we can be the children of God and trust Him with our entire life and our decisions that we made. So I hope this is encouraging to mothers. And if you pick up this book, A Quiet Street, I think you're going to be very much be able to relate to all the stories that I've shared about my mom's life and how her life can encourage you as well.
You listen to Iron Refocus Radio 930 AM The Answer, talking to Miss Trudy Cathy White. And I want to touch on the title of the book, A Quiet Strength.
Yeah.
That's a great title. How did that formulate itself for that to be called for the book?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it was probably the hardest part of the whole book was I had the manuscript all written, but I just didn't know what I was going to call the book. And I came across some words in the Bible that says, in quietness and trust shall be your strength. And I realized this thing would be very reflective of the kind of person my mother was. She was a quiet person, and yet she was a powerhouse in terms of her influence. She was a trusting person. She trusted God in everything. And that seemed to be where her strength came from. There's a verse in the Bible also that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so I titled the book A Quiet Street because here's the deal. I'm a daughter writing about a mother and and reflecting on her life. And it wasn't the things that she taught me. It wasn't necessarily the things she did for me, but it was the kind of life that she lived that really impacted me. It was conversations in the car. It was prayer time in my bedroom. It was different things like that seemed to be quiet and noticeable situations, but powerful situations. So I think A Quiet Street really, really, in 3 short words, really describes the life of my mom.
And when people read this book, they're going to have exclusive insight of a personal look at your mom and your family. What is one thing that you hope people take away from, especially women out there who pick up this book? What's that one thing that you wish that they will take away from this?
Yeah, I would say that, we've all encountered adversity and ups and downs in our life. And my mother was the same way. So here's the takeaway for anybody who reads this book. I think you're going to find yourself extremely encouraged and have opportunities to realize, you know what? I can be this influential as well with people around me. I can discover how to really live an abundant life, a flourishing life, and to recognize where my strength can come from. Because most of the time, you read a lot of self-help books, and it's all about what you can do and how you can make things better. But in this book, you're going to discover how my mother leaned on her relationship with Jesus Christ to give her the strength that she needed to face every day.
Man, that's powerful. In the last 5 minutes I have with you, first of all, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on 9:30 a.m. The Answer with Iron Focus Radio Show. And secondly, we got to talk about Chick-fil-A. I mean, people are probably hungry already thinking about Chick-fil-A, but when it comes to the brand, when you look at life from behind you to present time, did you think that Chick-fil-A will be this powerful brand today?
Yeah, well, let me say thank you again for having me on. I appreciate it so much, giving me this kind of time and letting people know about the book, A Quiet Strength. But when we talk about Chick-fil-A, oh my goodness, I don't think any of us could have ever imagined what God was going to do with it. But I can tell you that God has been extremely faithful to us through the years. And our desire is to stay focused on Him, to glorify Him in the things that we do. As I mentioned to you, we want to steward well what He's given us. We want to have a positive influence on people who are around us, and we absolutely love having the opportunity to serve our customers, our guests that come and eat with us. We appreciate so much our independent operators that are out there in the communities. We appreciate their investment into our team members and teaching our team members how to go the second mile with our service to our guests that come and eat with us. So thank you for all you that are out there listening that are raving fans of Chick-fil-A. My very favorite are the chicken minis and sweet tea. I don't know what yours is, but keep eating with us, and thank you so much for the time today.
I mean, the waffle fries and the chicken nuggets, I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, Chick-fil-A, you just can't go wrong. And the sweet tea is amazing. And with all that's going on with COVID-19, I mean, it's so much things happening. People have to change how they operate and do business. But I get Chick-fil-A on the go, and it's still great. It's a great experience. If you can touch on that while we have a little few minutes with you, how do you see when it comes to people coming together in these tough times? How do you see this opportunity to even further push faith, that message to everyone?
Yeah, my dad years and years ago said food is essential to life, so why not make it good? So we've always valued the opportunity to serve quality food to our people, and we hope that's what they find every time they come and eat with us. But it's not just about the food. In fact, we find some people come to Chick-fil-A just because they're looking for a good experience. They're not really even all that hungry, but they know that they're going to find friendly people, smiling faces, and people that are willing to serve. And we just think that anytime you do your best in anything you do, it is really a way to honor God, because you are maximizing all the gifts that He's given us. So when we can serve people and serve them well, we feel like we're honoring the Lord that way.
You listen to Iron Focus Radio on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, talking to Miss Trudy Cathy White. She is the daughter of the founder, her father, Truett Cathy, and we're honoring her mother, Jeannette Cathy. When you are seeing life happen and the success of Chick-fil-A and faith being the foundation, say someone out there, they're feeling a little stuck in life and they need some help refocusing and getting their life back to God and back on what's important. What words of encouragement would you give to that person? Well,
I would say that, life is hard, but sometimes it's when in those hard times that we learn more than any time. I know for me personally, when I go through difficulties in life, it's the time I lean even more into the Lord. So I think during this season that we're all in with the COVID-19 that we're facing and dealing with, that sure, it's a hard time. It's a very different kind of season for us, but these are good times for us to ask the Lord, Lord, what are you trying to teach me? I think this is something I learned in my young 20s, is the most of the time I would say, Lord, why are you doing this to me? I would kind of blame the Lord, and not anything actually wrong with that, but the better question might be, Lord, what are you up to, and what are you trying to teach me? So that would be my encouragement to those who are listening, that maybe shift your thinking and your questioning to say, Lord, what are you trying to teach me? And the Lord is always going to use any experience in your life. He never wastes any experiences. He will use them for your good and for His glory.
Once again, this is Iron Focus Radio, and we had the honor to talk to the founder's daughter, Truett Cathy's daughter, Miss Trudy Cathy White, and honoring her mother, Jeannette M. Cathy. And if you want to find her book, you can find it on her website or Amazon. Amazon, you go to A Quiet Strength, The Life of a Legacy of Jeannette M. Cathy, or you can go directly to her website, quietstrengthbook.com. Before we let you go, would you like to say anything to our audience?
I just want to encourage you, of course, to get the book, and encourage you that the kind of life that you're building is super, super important. People are watching you, and because the Bible says in quietness and in trust shall be your strength, you will be able to find strength in life.
Once again, I'm your host, Shemaya Reed, on Iron Focus Radio, listening to 9:30 a.m. The Answer. You can go to ironfocusradio.com and listen to this podcast. We always say on every single show, before we leave, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.
Hi, San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockefeller's Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.